In this video, we will focus on solving quadratic equations using the square root property. If a quadratic equation is given in one of the forms shown here, the square root property is the most straightforward and efficient method to solve it. But first, what exactly is the square root property? If x squared equals k, where k is a real number greater than or equal to 0, then x equals plus or minus the square root of k. This is the same as taking the square root of both sides of the equation. You can also write this as x equals the square root of k, or x equals the negative of the square root of k. Let's now apply this property to solve these quadratic equations. Our first equation is x squared equals 49. By applying the square root property, we find that x equals plus or minus the square root of 49. Next, we simplify the square root. The square root of 49 is 7, right? Therefore, the solutions are x equals 7 or x equals negative 7. We can check our answers by substituting them back into the original equation. Substituting 7 squared is 7 times 7, which equals 49. Likewise, substituting negative 7 squared is negative 7 times negative 7, which also equals 49. As you can see, both 7 and negative 7 check out, confirming that they are indeed solutions to the quadratic equation. In this example, the coefficient of the quadratic term is 1, and we were able to apply the square root property directly. But what if the coefficient is not 1? To apply the square root property, the coefficient of the quadratic term must be equal to 1. So, our initial step in this example is to divide both sides of the equation by 4. These cancel out, and we are left with x squared equals 25. Now, we can apply the square root property, which gives us x equals plus or minus the square root of 25. Next, simplify the square root. The square root of 25 is 5, so the solutions are x equals 5 or x equals negative 5. In the next example, the quadratic term is not isolated. So, what should we do? To apply the square root property, the quadratic term must be isolated. So, our initial step in this example is to add 72 to both sides of the equation. These cancel out, and we get x squared equals 72. Now you can apply the square root property, and you get x equals plus or minus the square root of 72. The next step is to simplify the square root. 72 is not a perfect square, but it can be written as the product of 36 and 2, right? And this is the same thing as the square root of 36 times the square root of 2. The square root of 36 is 6. The square root of 2 cannot be further simplified. Therefore, the solutions are x equals 6 times the square root of 2 or x equals negative 6 times the square root of 2. Let's work on another example like this, but a bit more challenging. I encourage you to pause the video and give it a try. Remember, to apply the square root property, the quadratic term must be isolated, and its coefficient must be equal to 1. So first, subtract 14 from both sides of the equation to isolate the quadratic term. Next, divide both sides by 2 to make the coefficient of the quadratic term 1. At this point, you can apply the square root property. The next step is to simplify the square root. This is the same thing as the square root of 25 over the square root of 2, right? The square root of 25 is 5. In algebra, when the denominator of a fraction has a radical, as in this case, it is not considered simplified. So, we need to rationalize the denominator to simplify it. Multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the square root of 2. In the numerator, you have 5 times the square root of 2. In the denominator, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which equals 2. Therefore, the solutions are x equals 5 times the square root of 2 over 2, or negative 5 times the square root of 2 over 2. At the beginning of the video, when we defined the square root property, we said that if x squared equals k, and k is greater than or equal to 0, then x equals plus or minus the square root of k. But what will happen if k is less than 0? This will be the case in this example. First, isolate the quadratic term by subtracting 69 from both sides of the equation. These cancel out, and 44 minus 69 equals negative 25. Then, make the coefficient 1 by multiplying both sides by 2 over 5. On the left side, the 2's and the 5's cancel each other out, leaving us with x squared. On the right side, simplify negative 25 and 5 to negative 5. Then, multiply negative 5 by 2 to get negative 10. As you can see now, k is negative. If we apply the square root property, the number inside the square root becomes negative. However, in the real number system, we cannot take the square root of a negative number, right? Therefore, the answer to this problem is that there is no real solution. In general, if k is less than 0, then the quadratic equation has no real solution. Now, let's work on some examples that are a bit more challenging. Please stay with me. In this example, the squared term is not just x. Instead, it is x minus 6. In such cases, treat the entire binomial as a single variable and apply the square root property directly. So, we have x minus 6 equals plus or minus the square root of 81. The square root of 81 is 9, right? Now we have two equations, x minus 6 equals 9 and x minus 6 equals negative 9. The next step is to solve each equation. Let's start with the first equation. Add 6 to both sides to isolate x. These cancel out, and 9 plus 6 is 15. For the second equation, again, add 6 to both sides. Cancel out these. Negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3. Therefore, the solutions are x equals 15 or negative 3. Let's verify our solutions by substituting them back into the original equation. Substituting 15 minus 6 is 9, and 9 squared equals 81. Similarly, substituting negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9, and negative 9 squared is also equals 81. As you can see, both 15 and negative 3 check out, confirming that they are indeed solutions to the quadratic equation. Let's work on another example like this. Just like in the previous example, you can treat the entire binomial as a single variable and apply the square root property directly. The square root of 121 is 11. Next, write down the two equations and solve them. Starting with the first equation, add 3 to both sides of the equation to isolate 2x. Then, divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals 7. For the second equation, again, add 3 to both sides of the equation to isolate 2x. Then, divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals negative 4. Therefore, the solutions are x equals 7 or negative 4. If you have found this video helpful so far, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Now, it is your turn. Please pause the video and give it a try. Remember, to apply the square root property, the quadratic term must be isolated, and its coefficient must be equal to 1. So, first, subtract 11 from both sides of the equation to isolate the quadratic term. Next, divide both sides of the equation by 3 to make the coefficient 1. At this point, you can apply the square root property. The square root of 16 is 4. Next, set up the two equations and solve them. From the first equation, you get x equal to negative 3. From the second equation, you get x equal to negative 11. Therefore, the two solutions are x equals negative 3 or negative 11. Moving on to the next example, the left side of the equation looks a bit different from what we have seen before. But don't worry, it is a perfect square trinomial. By factoring it, we can rewrite it in a familiar form we have been working with, which will allow us to apply the square root property directly. This perfect square trinomial is in the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, which is equal to a plus b squared. To recognize if a trinomial is a perfect square, you can follow these 3 simple steps. First, check if the first term is a perfect square. X squared is indeed a perfect square. Next, check if the last term is a perfect square. 16 is a perfect square and can be written as 4 squared, right? Finally, check if the middle term is 2 multiplied by a times b. 2 times x times 4 is 8x. Therefore, since all 3 conditions are met, this trinomial is a perfect square. Now, since a is x and b is 4, we can factor it as x plus 4 squared. Notice that if the sign of the middle term is positive, the sign in the factor is also positive. Similarly, if it is negative, the sign in the factor is also negative. Now, treat the whole binomial as a single variable and apply the square root property. The square root of 25 is 5. Next, set up the two equations and solve them. From the first equation, we get x equal to 1. From the second equation, we get x equal to -9. Therefore, the two solutions are x equal to 1 or -9. Let's do one more example like this. This is the final one, so please stay with me. Just as we did in the previous example, our first step is to factor the perfect square trinomial. This trinomial is in the form a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, which is equal to a minus b squared. 9x squared can be written as 3x squared, right? And 4 can be written as 2 squared. Therefore, the middle term is 2 multiplied by 3x times 2, which equals 12x. This confirms that this trinomial is a perfect square, so we can factor it easily. Since a is 3x and b is 2, we can factor it as 3x minus 2 squared. Remember, if the sign of the middle term is negative, the sign in the factor is also negative. Now, apply the square root property. The square root of 36 is 6. Next, set up the two equations and solve them. For the first equation, add 2 to both sides of the equation to isolate 3x. Then, divide both sides by 3, and you get x equals 8 over 3. For the second equation, again, add 2 to both sides of the equation to isolate 3x. Then divide both sides by 3, and you get x equals -4 over 3. Therefore, the solutions are x equals 8/3 or -4/3. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below.